The following presentation is a gift from the team at Streamline Publishing, publishers of Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air Magazine, and weekly newsletters Fine Art Today, Realism Today, Plein Air Today, and American Watercolor, and events the Plein Air Convention and the Figurative Art Convention. We offer over 400 different art instruction tutorials and ultra high-quality video by the world's leading artists. If you like what you see, help us support our artists and our team with your purchase. Each video aired has a special discount code for today only in the comments section with a link to the video offered. And to see everything we do, or if you want to receive notice of new releases, new products, and new events for artists, simply click the other link, which says, "See everything we do." Thank you.
Hey, I'm Eric Rhodes, publisher of Fine Art Connoisseur and Plein Air magazines. We all love Solitude, but how do you paint it? Well, Zhaoming Wu is going to show you how in this video called Solitude.
Today I'm going to start painting figure with the cloth. Majority I'm going to using photo reference. I do using a photo reference for my painting. Also, I am painting from life every week. So I'm painting from life, painting from photo every week. So almost like half painting from life and painting the photo. Today I do using photo printer, and also I'm going to using a computer laptop. Both working on my painting. The reason I using the laptop, I able to using the image can see bigger. When I zoom out, zoom in, can see all the detail, and even I can change the contrast, change the tone, can see more rich value. And if I using photo reference, I would like is using normally about 3 exposure. One is like overexposure, one like underexposure. One is like regular exposure. Overexposure, that means make the photos looks really light. The light side almost wash out. We don't really see a lot of information on the light side, but we do see quite a lot more information on the shadow side than the regular. And another one, second one, I'm using under exposure. That means the key is low, dark, the photo. So the shadow part getting lost information, really dark. But the light side pick up so many information on the light side. And then I'm using the regular one, can see both light side, shadow side a little bit. So I'm using that all 3 different exposure for the painting, so can see the full information, and so I can pick up whatever I need. So I'm using 3 exposure for reference, using for the painting as well as the laptop too. Today I'm going to paint close figure painting, now I'm going to introduce a little bit the material I use. First of all, medium. I do like using turpentine, and linseed oil, mixing together, almost like a 50-50, or 60% turpentine, 40% linseed oil. Depends on what kind of feel I want. So that's normal way I'm using. The palette, basically arrange the palette according to 2 principles. One, from light to the dark. 2, from warm to the cool. So that 2 principle. The reason for that because the light color putting together, when you sometimes we blending together, they still not make muddy color, dirty color around. Still pretty close, the color, pretty similar. And so that's why warm on the side, one side, cool, warm on the one side, cool on another side, and light on the one side, on another side. Titanic white, cadmium yellow, cadmium orange, cadmium red deep, alizarin crimson, terra rosa, Van Dyke brown, sap green, that's cobalt violet, cobalt blue hue, ultramarine, cerulean blue. So that's basically the way I arrange the palette. The pen box, the palette box, that was the cover. I can cover all over after the day end. I finish the painting the day. I cover that, and next day come back, open again. So some artists using glass palettes and open all the time, clean up every day. But I do like using the box and cover, keep this wet, again using the next day. And the brush, big brush, about inch and a half. Sometimes I'm using cheap house pen brush, but that's not a house pen brush. That's a real pen brush. And also I do like using friend brush. Friend brush not only for blending, for soft edge, not blending only, but also I pen with the friend brush. Probably this is one thing. It's not many artists, not all the artists using that kind of brush for painting. Of course, different numbers brush, from big to the smallest one. I think number 0 or number 1. So that's the brush I'm using, and I like using flat brush, square flat brush. So I don't care what kind of hair they have, but I'm more concerned about the shape of the brush. Someone using round brush, I don't really get comfortable with that. I do working with the flat square brush for a long time, so this I feel really working for me. So that's a little bit about the medium. I already say I like using turpentine mixed linseed oil because I feel more flow on the surface of the painting. To me, comparing the liquid, I pen start first couple layer pretty thin. So this I feel really working for me with that kind of medium, mixture medium. This was Van Dyke brown.
Is your canvas prepared in any special way?
The canvas I just normally just using already made, purchased from art supply store. But when I do my own canvas, I do gesso, at least 3 or 4 layers of gesso. And using sandpaper sand that, and gesso that 1 layer, and using sandpaper sand that, and 2nd layer, and sand that, and 3rd layer, and sand that, and 4th layer, and sand that. So small painting, mostly I purchase from already made from art supply store. And yeah, that's the way I consider using the canvas. And also I do like a smooth surface. I don't like a lot of texture because a smooth surface is able to allow me showing more brush stroke, particularly when I'm painting thin. So even can see the track of the brush stroke, can see how create the pathway over the brush stroke on the canvas. So and I feel really comfortable working with smooth surface of the canvas. And today I'm going to start with photo reference. That's the one I'm going to be using, and but that's really a simple photo, and also I according the photo reference to develop my concept for the painting. So before I really start on the canvas, I did a few of sketch, thumbnail sketch. So that's the thumbnail sketch. So really simple. Just basically lay out the light and dark, basic light and dark, and see the value pattern. And the second one is more consider location for the shape. The third one consider the direction for the gesture. I picked from the photo reference. You see the photo reference, it's many cloths, but you need to pick up the main direction. So it's something maybe really strong detail contrast on the small cloth, but it's unnecessary, or also that's not the main direction we should using. So you need to analyze from the reference to find out what's the majority clause which can indicate it or help you to create the movement and the rhythm on the painting. So you select that and mark down on the thumbnail sketch. And so on future, when you're working on the painting, when you're looking back at you will remind myself how the initial idea in my mind, so how to develop that element become a piece of our artwork. So this the normal way that I working with my painting. I put the thumbnail sketch aside for my seat, so I can occasionally see that with myself the idea of the design. Sometimes I take a minute looking at the photo, almost like a meditating. Get the feel from the reference, because it's overall the working process is interpretation from the reference to my painting. It should be getting something from photo to transfer for the painting, but not duplicate the reference. So I need a focus on the photo, think about that, what's the valuable things, what is inspire me, and what is some detail things can be become the painting elements, and using the all elements achieve a piece of art was something I want, certain mood, certain atmosphere, certain design for the painting. So normally I take a minute to look at that. The way I holding the brush, I like holding the tip, the end of the brush, because I feel a lot more freedom. I can, reach bigger, cover bigger area easier, and also I can feel, really a lot of freedom with the way of holding a brush. nothing detail, but very much consider the shade, positive shade, negative space. That's how they're interacting, how they're working together, not just a figure. So this, I would like to say, is the concept of the design. Also, the direction of the line, the location at the top, how much space to the edge on the top, how much space on the bottom and left, right. Also, it consists a little bit according to the photos reference, what's inspire me or what can allow me have the room to using that shade and space. A little bit too much light here, it disturbing me, so I erase that. Use a little bit medium. So basically, I'm working the big shape. Big shapes, what is a couple things to concern when I'm working on that. Number one, of course, the proportion of the figure. Nothing detail. Nothing really precisely, but the accuracy of the proportion is really critical concern on that stage. It's a simple drawing, but it's really important foundation. It's a fundamental elements for the painting. If you got big mistake on that part, that will be difficult on the future stage. I do the painting basics divided, I would like to say approximately 4 different stages. The initial stage is drawing, consider initial drawing like this, find out the location of the shape, and the design, consider positive shade, negative shade, consider organic shade, geometric shade. That's a little bit consider about that. Where should using more organic shade, where should be using geometric shade, and what's using big shade, medium size, small shade. And also, it's already should consider the focal point. Why wait quickly reveal the photo reference and pick up the few focal point? It's going to be on the future, marking down for the future stage. Like this reference, that's the first focal point, second focal point, third focal point. So basically, that 3 point create the eye path going move that way. So that's the most important thing. Even I see a lot of clause over here, it might I knock down the contrast. It might not, of course, depends on how it's go the painting. But that the movement, that's what I want. That's my idea, the concept. And you're going to see you're going to working for my painting or not. Of course, sometimes can be working well just because since I set up that idea, the movement, focal point for the painting, it might not really working well. I have to change the mind, change the things. So that's each painting almost like adventure. Every time I do the new painting, it's a new adventure. So there's something you might know what will be happen on the painting, and something you might not really sure. So that's make the things very exciting and challenge. So there's a painting every day, painting the figure in my every week, but doing the different thing. Do the painting, but not painting the same subject, because I'm painting the idea. It's different. So I'm painting the figure every time, but I do the idea. It's different every time. So that's something pretty exciting. Continue. Well, shadow shade, according to the reference, also according to the design of the painting. For instance, I might going to move the shadow shade bigger to getting in touch to the edge. So because I consider that negative shade, negative space. If we're going on lower, follow the photo reference, lower, then we're getting another parallel line with the edge. So that's something I try to avoid to do so. I think that I like that design better than this, at least in this moment. I think that's maybe the right choice. So after that, consider that edge and the edge. Now I'm going to consider about the angle, the direction of this edge, this line. I'm going to consider located the part, the vase, on the left side in order to get the balance with the big shade, get a small shade, but the location I still texting because consider that space and that space. And also when I'm using the vase, also consider the cast shadow because that's also the positive shade, the part of the positive shade. And also that shade create the direction pointing to the figure. So that means moving the viewer's eye to the figure rather than here, so that to get help on the painting. I think that probably, at least for now, I'm going to put this idea on the painting. But like what I say, it's texting the idea. I'm not 100% sure for that yet. But it's good to have an idea in my mind, so when I paint, I can in charge the painting according to my idea or the design, not just according to the what I see from the photo reference. Try to not do too straight that way, a little bit angle going that way. I think it's also the better shape, better movement. So I might exaggerate of the angle. After I've done the initial stage, I was talking about the fourth stage. Initial stage is line drawing, locate the positive shade, negative shade on the painting. The second stage, I'm going to blocking light and shadow. Start from value, but it's very simple, only light and dark. Pretty flat, two value mostly, because I think we approach the representational painting. Finally, the result come up should be three-dimensional with some or quite a lot of detail. But the stage in the beginning, I don't think about that. I think about simple. It's not very simple. Simple shape and then simple value. So the first and second stage, I would like to say it's approach two-dimensional. And third stage, I getting move on more advanced thinking, advanced stage, which is going to modeling the form. Start from big shape, big form, big plane, and then third stage, then we're going with the detail attached on the focal point with detail, and final stage will be finish touch. Of course, in the field stage, in that field stage, working on the edge, color, and pen applications and things like that. So basically, 4 and 5 stage. You cannot really divide it really clear, but it's the things in my mind what I need working on. So now I'm going to move on the second stage. And also related to the first stage, because still working on the proportion and the shape. Big size, not really big, but because I still working on the proportion. Using a bit burn number, Van Dyck, brown together. Idea, no color or not consider color, only consider value. Unify all the shadow, no matter is cast shadow on the background, on the wall, or the form shadow on the face, on the cloth, I see as one. I keep pretty thin at that stage, using a lot of medium. Almost wash, but not really wash on it. So pretty abstract shape on the canvas on that stage. So basically 3 balance, or maybe almost like a diamond shape here. That's all the layout that's design. Well, now I'm going to start with putting the color on the shadow part. Well, even still two-dimensional approach, value only, basically 2. Normally, I consider each painting should have 3 value pattern, 3 value on the painting, dark, light, mid-tone. But at this stage, so far only 2. Keep the things simple. A little bit more body of the pen, because the first layer it's very thin. If a second layer you continue using a lot of medium, then we wash the first layer of the pen out. So not adding on it. So now I want adding on some more body of a pen over here, a little bit thicker pen. In that stage, don't think too much about the shade and the form and the detail. Think about the color. Because you think too much about the drawing, it will be limited, you sensitive to the color. So now that's the stage you liberate the color from the drawing. So try to put a lot of color on that. Give a little bit dark accents on the shadow.
You seem to be working all on the warm side of your palette for the shadows. Is there a reason for that? You're using all warm colors?
Yeah, so far I only warm color, but later on we're adding the cool color on it. Because that's easy thing to put the warm color first, and then you put the cool color after. If you put the cool color first, and then put the warm color after on the top of cool color, I think a little bit easy to make the muddy. A warm color, and you keep the little bit more intense, pure. So that's why. Of course, maybe someone have a different way to approach that. Well, that's my way, you know. Now I'm going to put a little bit cool color. carefully using white color in the shadow. Because try to avoid have too much white and make the shadow part too chalky. But somehow, sometimes you have using acting a little bit white color on the color. Otherwise, there will be too transparent and not enough body of the pen. It's really important to set up the key of the color because that basically I try to overall it's not really cool color using on the painting. So when I'm using the cool color on the shadow, I should be not overpowered with the warm color. Sometimes when I'm using the cool color, using the brush, putting up on the warm, the first layer of the warm color, it's almost like mixing the color together on the canvas. The color in the shadow is some kind of complicated. Normally, I would consider on the shadow side, I more focus on color rather than the drawing. So more information about the color, find out really which color on the shadow. But simple drawing, simple detail, simple form, not much detail. But on the light side, normally I do keep the color simple, but really focus the drawing and the detail on the light side. So that means I can conclude it. My philosophy on painting using the color and drawing, if the light side see the drawing, shadow side see the color. Of course, doesn't mean on the light side no color, doesn't mean the shadow side no drawing, but I mean shadow side is more in charge by the color, light side more in charge by the value and drawing. The reference, the shadow shade on the cloth underneath of the arm, it's only stop over here, but I make this go over to the background because I think they have a lot of connection on here. I feel, so I'm using this. And again, we find the edge, pick up the edge later by using the background color. So keep the things simple. Don't see too much. Don't see too much information on here. Sometimes you need to make the things simple. Sometimes you need to make this more complicated. So a little bit violet, like a purple quality on the painting, but plus some zero color here create the subtle contrast of complementary color. Again, I'm here more consider color a little bit rather than the drawing so far when I work in the shadow. So you see pretty abstract on that stage. A lot of things come from the pair. What's that mean come from the pair? Such as when you see the dark, that means you're using the light. When you see the black, you're using the white. When you see the warm, you have using the cool. When you're using the pure, you see using the gray. So it's a lot of things opposite, but they come together. So the brush stroke is same thing. You can using vertical and also horizontal, using organic shade, geometric shade, big, small, things like that. Okay, it's two-dimensional, light in shadow with some color. Now we're going to getting the third level value. Third value is the midtone. It's almost is dominated the color of the painting because they cover bigger area. So I'm going to figure out how the color, what color I'm using on the painting, because even I see from the photo, but I believe even the photo not captured exactly precisely from life. Even precisely from life doesn't mean I need that precisely, because all these artists creating their own things inspired from life, even representational painting. Also I'm going to explain a little bit about the photo reference, and that one I should was artificial light. It's cool and warm light both in the same time, and two kind of light hitting on the light side of the model. But anyhow, shadow side I see. A lot of time I can see the warm color from the reflection, because particularly sunlight, natural light, or artificial light, if we're using the light bulbs, warm light bulbs, they hitting on the ground or surrounding of the figure, they bounding to the shadow part of the cloth on the figure, it looks warm. So that means a shadow part should be warm in somewhere, and also can be, of course, cooler on some catch shadow. So that means comparing the reflect light, warm reflect light, the light side, that means already should be cooler. I mean, warm and cool is basic on the relationship in between. So when I start painting, number one, I lay out the shadow part, not consider color, and then I'm using the umber or earth tone color. So it's already warm. And then I'm adding color on the top. Is normally I will adding even more warmer color to show the intensity of the reflection. So that's the way I using warm color. Of course, also I lay out some cool color or things like that over here. So the light side should be the color getting subtle, the shadow part color intense, a little bit more pure, the light side more subtle color. And so warm over here, then compare that, they'll be a little bit cooler. So overall, the decision are using that reference to lay out the color on here. I consider color. The light is cool light source, and but not doesn't mean it's blue. The cooler light source, almost like a natural light color. Even that's actually the original photo I took it is artificial light, so I consider natural light. Working on the background color. Bigger brush. While mixing the background color, of course, important thing consider the value and the color, but nothing about the detail of the subject, the form and the subject detail. It's just about the value, basic value, and but more focused on the color. Texting the background color. It's considered relationship with this. Of course, I didn't place the color on the light side of the cloth on the figure yet. So I cannot really tell much, but at least can tell in between the background color and the shadow color a little bit. So there's mid-tone value on the background. So that means we have a darker area here, lighter area here. So this is basically controlling the key of the painting. You want key higher, lighter. You want key lower, darker. So it's adjustable. So that's come from what you want. It's the idea, not just simply come from the reference, more come from the responding from the reference. The mood, the feel when in the moment I see it. Sometimes, I feel I want high key. Just something inspire me should be make the high key. Sometimes make low key. Maybe the mood, maybe I feel moody, gloomy, or things like that. Depends on what you want, But the relationship should be same, but the color change, but the relationship pretty similar. That means mid-tone here, light on here, dark on the bottom, but that can be changed to different level, but the relationship should be light, mid-tone, dark, I think normally. A little bit more texture on the floor. When I lay out the background color on the floor, I need to consider value relationship here. If left like that, I think later on I should be adding more darker value on here because I keep the shadow in the light side. That's the light side or mid-tone value. Cannot the same value over with the shadow part of the figure.
Well, that's a classic from Zhaoming Wu. It's called Solitude, and you can learn more about it at lilyartvideo.com. And remember, there's a special discount code in the comments section today only. Thank you so much for watching.